So it's day 2 of our visit to the north of Tasmania, visiting several members of our sector and our community that are involved in palliative care as we recognise National Palliative Care Week coming up from the 10th of May. I'm here at Calvary St Luke's campus, and it's going to be a wonderful opportunity to enjoy some sunshine after all of the rain yesterday and to meet with a number of the members of the team here. Let's head inside. Hi Edwin, it's great to finally be here at Calvary St Luke's.
Yeah, welcome Heather, coming to visit us today. Are you ready to have a look around our premises?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. It's my first time here, and I understand it's quite an old historic building with several parts to it, including the Melwood Ward and the Findlay Wards.
Spot on. So let's go and have a look.
Sounds great, thank you. Good morning, Edwin and Tony. And Edwin, thanks again for welcoming us to Calvary St Luke's in Launceston on this beautiful day. We have a vacant chair at the moment. Helen's going to join us, but part of life in the palliative care service, Helen's currently just supporting a patient, their family, as they go through some steps towards final stages, is my understanding. So, Tony, I'm going to come on to you shortly, but Edwin, first of all, tell us a little bit about you and your role here at Calvary St Luke's.
Okay. A little bit about me. I've been at Calvary St Luke's now in my 11th year. I started off here as a student doing prac, and from there it evolved into becoming a casual and then a permanent. So my role here now is Manager of Pastoral Care and Mission Integration, but a large proportion of my role is pastoral care on the floor, clinical, with patients and families.
Yeah, and that's right across the hospital.
Yes.
Yeah, a very rewarding role, I'm sure, but
it is.
It's not without its challenges from time to time.
No, it's a real privilege to do what we do, yeah.
So Edwin, Calvary St Luke's in Launceston, it's a beautiful heritage building with so many different dimensions to it as well. Tell me a little bit about what the tradition of Calvary St Luke's is and why is that meaningful to you?
So Calvary here, St Luke's itself has been here for over 100 years, and Calvary took over and purchased St Luke's here in, I think, 2004. And the interesting thing that I found was a lot of the staff here have been here for a long time, 20 years plus.
Yeah.
And talking to them, they have a sense of family and ownership in the work that they do. So I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah. In my mind, also represents the philosophy, that heart, and I mean that in the metaphorical and literal sense, that sits within Calvary as well.
And most staff here come with the same values, or they align with those values, and in the care that they give.
And of course, Edwin, at Calvary St Luke's, we have the Melwood Ward, and that is a very special place as an opportunity for those who are experiencing palliative care to potentially experience their end of life as well. What makes Calvary St Luke's and Melwood a special place for palliative care?
Our patients are cared for holistically. We have, the social, the emotional, spiritual from a pastoral care sense. As we go in, we feel like a guest in their presence, with no agenda, but with a goal to find out what supports they may have in place. And if they have supports, that makes our role less. If they don't, well, we like to make ourselves available to be there for them without putting any pressure on. And the care staff, our nurses and attendants and hospitality all go in with a gentle approach, understanding the scenario and the place where they are.
A very different part to the normal functioning in other areas across Calvary St Luke's. So I imagine it's maybe less clinical, more responsive, very gentle, caring.
No hustle or bustle.
Yeah. So Tony, tell us a little bit more about your role leading pastoral care across Tasmania, and particularly the importance of that at end of life.
Good question, Heather. Mission in Tasmania has a priority service of pastoral care. And my role as Regional Director of Mission, working in Hobart and Launceston, 2 hospitals in the south, 2 in the north. It's also residential aged care and home care in the north. And that focus of a pastoral or spiritual care that is a holistic care for people is a priority and unique service for Calvary.
Yeah. It's interesting you raise that point as well, that it's not only delivering palliative care in the context where we're sitting right now, Melwood at St Luke's, but also in residential aged care as well.
Absolutely. And through our wards, there will be instances where people come to an end-of-life phase, and we want to make sure that wherever they are in the hospital, whether it's a critical care unit or an accident emergency unit, that they get a wraparound compassion, that their family are cared for as well, their next of kin, and that all their entitlements and needs are met with them at the centre.
Yeah, and that is such a pivotal part of palliative care. Can you tell me a little bit about how you see Palliative Care Tasmania, the peak organisation? What do you see its role is in supporting the sector and the community in Tasmania?
I see its role as very important. We've been partnering Calvary with Palliative Care Tasmania for a number of years, and what we've used as a focus of that is raising awareness amongst our staff and the community that palliating people's pain is a priority in our community. Whereas it can be left to the last or low on the list, it's a difficult thing for people to still talk about. So we've maintained the talking about dying processes. I've still got a sticker on my wall that says, it's a Palliative Care Tasmania sticker that says, according to recent research, 10 out of 10 people will die.
Yeah, that's reality.
It's still true, isn't it?
Right. And yet we don't talk about that.
The not talking about it is because of our emotional vulnerability. It triggers us and other grief and fears. But if we don't talk about it, and other cultures are better at this, if we don't talk about it, then people are not supported when they need it. And the prior preparation has failed them. So that's not our clinical tradition and our care tradition at Calvary. We really leaned in. It goes right back to the sisters who founded us. And in Australia, 140 years of tradition. Our hospitals and services have always focused on palliative care. You think of the Calvary symbol of the cross, surrounded by the heart. The heart is that focus of being in the presence of the one who is dying. That is the heart of Calvary tradition.
Enormous alignment across our work together, and it's really great.
Palliative care Tasmania heart.
Absolutely, correct, Now, Tony, you deliver a special skill that some might know about. You bring your musicality into your work as well. I wonder if you might like to share a little bit about that with us today.
Sure. Music makes everything better, Heather, and it's a healer. I was talking to, in Hobart the other day, a music therapist that's working in our Gibson ward for palliative care. And also amongst some of the I am not a clinical musical therapist. I'm not trained, so I just play in the chemotherapy area. I'm careful not to knock out any of the IVs or anything like that. But there is a trained musical therapist. She told me a story the other day. She said she was working with a husband and a wife, and in both very spiritual couple, but finding trouble articulating the grief and the pain. And she'd ask, well, what's a song that you really like to sing today? And the couple came up with What a Wonderful World, the old Louis Armstrong masterpiece. And so she sang it for them. And then she came back a couple of weeks later. The man was beginning to deteriorate. But in that time, he had printed out the song, got it printed out by one of the nurses, and was ready to sing it with her. Even though he's challenged with his breathing. So what a wonderful world, exactly that.
And I'm sure, if you were measuring his clinical signs at that point in time, that experience of singing, of being in harmony, that would have brought in enormous well-being.
Even the breathing that is innate in the human experience of singing is profoundly healing.
Would you share something with us today?
Well, I'll try. I just happen to have the guitar here.
Something you prepared earlier.
Well, what a wonderful world. I hear trees of green, red roses too. I hear them bloom. I'm getting all the lyrics wrong. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow and pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people walking by. I see friends and hands singing how do do. They're really saying I love you. Babies laughing, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll ever know. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. I say to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh yeah. It's a bit out of tune, but that's the basic idea.
That's so beautiful. And I looked at Edwin in the midst of this, but I also looked out the window because we are looking at a beautiful environment here. Those trees are green.
Yeah.
I can imagine a rainbow up there right now. But we spent some time with Helen, who can't be here right now because she's upstairs in Melwood. And Tony, Edwin and I were talking a minute ago about the unique nature of those that are drawn to work in this space. And in the brief moment that I had to meet Helen before, I could see that she and her team, they deliver laughter, you know. So
Absolutely.
Your comment that the lyrics of that song about I hear laughter, that is very much part of the space here as well. I'm not shying away from the fact that palliative care, end of life, these are some of our most vulnerable moments that we will ever experience. But it's beautiful to be reminded of what there is to feel joy in as well.
That's right. The holistic care is going to include tears as well as joy. I mean, sometimes tears of joy. Sorry, Edwin, you were saying?
Well, often it's the celebration of the relationships. And generally, you know, the more tears means the more love.
That's it.
Okay. The greater the connection.
Yeah.
So,
We talk a little bit at Palliative Care Tasmania about connection over perfection. So you just mentioned the power of connection. Often people don't know what to say when they're faced with end of life or death. They might not know what to say to somebody who's experiencing grief and loss. But we talk a lot about its connection. It's not perfection. That's what's so important.
and being present
Yeah,
is the start of that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us today.
No worries.
So Helen, our vacant chair now has a very important person present. Tell us a little bit about you, your role here at Melwood, Calvary St Luke's, and what brought you to palliative care.
Okay, so I originally started off, I am actually a trained perioperative nurse.
Okay.
So we sort of, my beginnings were seeing the beginning of a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
And I gravitated to the wards, and then eventually I was sort of put over here to care for, but holistically, both the staff and the patients. So it was actually just a career graduation. It wasn't any directive per se. It just sort of evolved that way. Yeah.
But obviously, I guess there were people, maybe even yourself, there was something within you that seemed like a good fit for this area.
Well, I think too that running medical as well, we often have the gift of the end of life for some of the patients there. Yeah. So it was just a progression that I took over palliative as well.
Yeah. Helen, you mentioned your role isn't only caring for the individual and the family and carers that surround them, but also for your own team as well.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a bit more about your team?
So I have a really young team at the moment. They're energetic, they're eager, and it gives us an opportunity to give them exposure to lots of different nursing. So historically, they're fresh out of uni, or we've taken on they've come from overseas.
Right.
And so it's in our best interest to give them the support.
Yeah.
But not only with that, with palliative. I just recently had a situation where one of my new team members, who's palliative nurse for 10 years, recently lost her mother, and it was a trigger for her working there. So we had that emotional empathy as well. So it does affect us.
Oh, 100%. And I've been talking to both Edwin and Tony about their roles in pastoral care, and we've reflected on the fact that it's not just for those that are here as patients and visitors, but very much for the whole team. If I think about the team coming together, and I can imagine no 2 days look or feel the same, is there a defining moment in your experience where you and the team have responded to palliative care in a way that defines how unique this setting is?
If you're talking about what we bring to the patient, so I've actually got a really good example of that one. We actually were fortunate enough to care for one of our own. He was an integral part of our team. And unfortunately was given a very poor diagnosis, and it was very rapid. So we pulled together. He had a love of his motorbike, a love of his dog. So we really encourage any patients' families to come in any time of the day, any time of the night. We encourage personal effects from home. It gives them that comfort. We also encourage their pets to visit.
And their motorbikes to visit.
And their motorbikes to visit, yeah.
Tell me about that.
That was huge. So to bring in this patient's motorbike, he was obsessed with it. Like, he really looked after it. So it was a rainy day when they brought it in. So they had a blow dryer on it, making it all shiny, bringing it up in the lift, and it actually sat beside his bed. So he actually got that visual joy as well. Because he'd recognised at this stage that he wouldn't be again riding that bike. There's been cases where we've had younger demographics come in, and one case comes to mind, a 34-year-old gentleman who had 3-month-old twins, and we felt that we needed to do something for him to give to his children. So we work collaboratively together, working on that. As well. We get a lot of donations as thank yous as well. So we put that back into the unit, and we identify where our needs are, and we sort of focus on that to give that care for them.
One thing that I've learned in my brief space of time working in this area is that it is emotionally hard work, and I'm sure that sometimes it's incredibly physically hard work as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But there's clearly so much that is drawn from that can feel quite fulfilling as well.
I think it's a gift, a gift to actually care for someone and their families, not just the patient. There's the holistic of the whole family. And it could be through spiritual support, emotional, physical, and sometimes just listening, or just keeping them informed and keeping that sort of gentle flow of things going, so they understand the progress and the expectations, because a lot of the series they don't know what's going to happen.
That is such a beautiful segue into the theme for National Palliative Care Week this year. It's called Getting to the Heart of It, Big Questions and Real Answers. And as you've described, sometimes it's the lack of knowledge and understanding, feeling concerned about asking questions despite that uncertainty. If I were to ask perhaps each of you what that theme means to you, so getting to the heart of it, big questions, real answers. Tony, what does that mean to you?
We were saying before about the Calvary heart in our common symbol, and Palliative Care Tasmania also touches on that heart. The heart is more than just an organ that pumps blood. It's a cipher for the whole human being, our emotional vulnerability, the fragility of life. So, and the permission that we give in our services and the community wants for that wraparound care of people, that compassionate understanding and support.
Getting to the heart of it.
Helen? One of my, I'm going to go down a bit of a different channel. Quite often our patients want to return home for end of life as well. And that's a mammoth job. And putting the community together and all the organisations that can facilitate that is mammoth.
Yeah.
You know, we've got OTs, we've got physios, we've got the palliative doctors, we've got the palliative care teams, and making sure that they've got that support. So as much as sometimes the patients want to go home, the fear is the carer that's at home.
Yeah.
So making sure that we're supporting them to be able to give them a really nice end of life for their loved one.
Yeah.
So a lot of the focus is what does the patient need, but what does that carer need?
Yeah.
And keeping in touch with that, that's really important.
Those conversations are so valuable. And I imagine people who are listening and watching this conversation are going to be going, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So increasing awareness and understanding using this theme is really valuable and important. Thank you. Edwin, what would you say?
I think it was Viktor Frankl said, life's not complete without death. And for us who work in palliative care all the time, I suppose we get used to it.
Yeah.
But we've got to be sensitive around that. It's not the same for everyone. So one of the things I've found is a good question to ask is, do you have any questions?
Yeah.
It gives opportunity to reflect, and you'll be surprised with some of the questions you get asked. And I think that gets to the heart of what might be happening for them at that time.
It's such a powerful way to close. Being invitational, giving space, listening. Yeah. Okay, now I've brought notes for this section, and please keep in mind there is a ticking clock in the background because I'm going to ask each of you to think of one word in response to my question. My first one for you, Tony. What's palliative care in one word?
Empathy.
Okay, yeah. Helen, what matters most at end of life?
Peacefulness.
I like that. Edwin, what keeps you going in this work?
Purpose.
Pretty profound answers. I'm pretty impressed. I'm back to you, Tony. Hope feels like...
Joy.
Yeah, that resonates with me. Back to you, Edwin. One word that people often misunderstand about palliative care.
Dying.
Yeah. Helen, one word that describes your team.
Empathetic.
Yeah. And finally, back to you, Edwin. One word to describe Calvary St Luke's.
Comfort.
Well, Edwin, Helen, Tony, and all of Helen's communication devices, which has come in very handy over the course of our conversation today. Enormous thanks for sharing a little of yourself, for sharing with us what life is like at Calvary St Luke's, and particularly on the Melwood and Findlay Wards, and across the state as Calvary helps to support palliative care and end of life. It's been a pleasure to get to know you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
They're welcome.